This audio is a collection of extracts from a workshop Douglas Harding gave in 1983 in Kentfield, California.
So incredibly precious, it seems to me, to have this wonderful dissolver of difference and doubt and fear and alienation, have this solution of all this, and enjoy the differences. Celebrate the difference. You've got both, you've got both. You're having your cake and you eat it. And you've got the two together. There's one reflection on your thought. Another was just a little thing I remember from Lawrence van der Post. I think he was somewhere in Bushman country. And the Bushman suddenly came up to him. He was a Bushman a long way away. And the Bushman came up to him and said, "Oh, I was dead, now I'm alive again. I have a face once more." See? He had no face, now he had a face. The Bushman became alive in that face. Wonderful thing. And I think, other people's faces become incredibly precious and interesting. And we really see them when we don't have one of our own. And when I have one of my own here, which I construct so easily, serving notice, keep off. I don't want your face, I've got one. And that's cruel, unkind, it's discourteous, and it's untrue. And it's marvellous to take on, trade one face and get millions in exchange, isn't it? It's an incredibly precious thing. You see, the space is not choosy. It doesn't say, "Oh dear, now we don't have any people in our space," you see. Or it says, "These people are not very pretty people." It was country, it's a very miserable desert or something. And the space has no preferences. And there's a certain equality for the space. The space doesn't pick and choose. Space is very hospitable. And everything is good in a certain sense in that space. It doesn't have a separate will saying, "Oh, no, that's not good, and that is." So everything is kind of appreciated for what it is, and yet in a certain way equal. It's a kind of sameness, isn't it? As Ramana said, this is the easiest thing in the world to see, isn't it? I mean, it really is the easiest thing to see. But one is at large, one is room for the world to happen in. It's the easiest thing to see. And it is one of the most difficult things to keep on seeing. And one has to, in one breath you say, "This is a bit of cake on a plate, there's nothing to it." It's as easy as easy. And the next breath you have said, "My God, to keep it up, you really need everything. It's going to cost you everything. It really does." Well, why is it so difficult? Well, we put in a hell of a lot of practice at being a thing here. And the meatball has put in a lot of practice in trying to be a meatball. And to dispel that illusion is really quite a job. And furthermore, the whole of language and society is hell-bent on resisting this truth, but it's breaking all the club rules. And so it is difficult. But what do we want? I don't know what you want, but I tell you what I want. I want something I can do easily whenever I want. It's completely easy. And I want adventure. I want a task. I want something to do in my life that's worthwhile. I want meaning in my life. Something hard to do and yet easy to do, which is so easy to do you can't say, and so hard to do you can't say. And I get that. It's marvellous. I want both. All in one. And you surely are, we want something that stretches, don't we? Prove our mettle. And we want something we can do without doubt. And the extraordinary thing is the one thing I know you can't do wrong is see who you are. Now, when I see other things, I see them wrong. Even when I see a cup, in a certain sense, I don't see the cup at all. There's one view of the cup, now I've got another view of the cup, now I've got another view of the cup, where's the cup? I can't really see the cup in its entirety at all. It's a series of bits of cup. It's not a real experience of cup. It's glimpses of cup, isn't it? What about all the interior? And what about all these things here? I scan it and go, all the little marks. Take me 10 years to look at everything. I don't see the cup. I don't see that right. But when I look here, I can't do it wrong. It's clarity forever and ever. So this is an experience which is just perfect. You can't do it wrong. And you do it as well as the Buddha did. And it's badly. Because there's no degree. You do it like Jesus did. And you need to practice. I need to practice before it becomes natural to see it. And when it becomes natural to us to live from this, and after all, what are we on about this weekend but being natural? We're not trying to get something together, are we? At least I'm not. I'm not trying to be funny or be clever or do anything. I hope it's amusing, because it is. But the purpose for me, the purpose of today and tomorrow, is just to be natural, to be the way we are, and not play games with it, and not muck it up. And here we have it, really something we can't do wrong. You see, you can't see half your space. How can you half see it? It's an all or nothing, see, isn't it? That's really great. Certainly for me here, if I'm here to make converts primarily and persuade people or get the power of them or anything like that, I feel very uncomfortable and I think very ineffectual. And it sounds awfully selfish, but you know, I'm here to enjoy myself. I just be you. I just feel great. Great to be space for you. And I go a rather long way about sharing it, by explaining it and all that. But the primary motive that I have here, when it's working well, is just joy in being all this and being absent in favour, the sea. And any kind of missionary, any idea that anyone lacks this or is in need of this is so wrong, because everyone is living from this position. In my view and in my judgment, everyone is fully seized of this, fully living from it, perfectly established in their space, and if they don't wish yet to know it is this, or to say it this way, or if they wish to have a lot of fun postponing this thing until they feel ready for it, that's just fine. And to come here with designs on people is very uncomfortable and very ineffective, discourteous, wrong, for me anyway. Because I don't have a feeling that anyone in this room is unenlightened. I promise you that. I really do not. Because I'm quite sure nobody is. And it's impossible to be unenlightened. Quite impossible. By enlightened, I mean to be light, to be the fact. The one thing that I can share with people, really, I mean, if I'm going to share a feeling about something, an impression of something, an idea about something, I really will. I try and do that. I like doing that. But it seems to me very difficult if I'm going to share with you my appreciation of a Mozart symphony or something. I just say it's marvellous, isn't it? Great stuff. Am I telling you what I'm experiencing? Oh, I say strawberry jam tastes terribly good. How do I convey to you what the taste of strawberry jam is? It's kind of hard, isn't it? Or even red. I mean, I love red or blue. You know? Your red might be my green. It's very difficult. But when it comes to this, now there is communication. Really the one thing that I know that I can share with people. And of course it happens to be the one thing I need to share with people. And it's the one thing that we all share, as it seems to me, by very nature. And so this is intrinsically the easiest thing to share with people. And I think if you're on your own and without friends who are seeing it this way, well, create a few friends who are seeing it this way. Just do that. I mean, don't press it on them, that's no good. But you know, if you're enjoying it, they might want to know you know, what's going for you, and they might want to share this with them, and then you've no problem at all. And if you've got 30 seconds, there's plenty of time to do it. Plenty of time. Now, if Richard said to me, Douglas, what are you on about? Ask me that. What are you on about? Oh, see all this stuff here? See all that funny stuff there? Anything like it there? It's not face to face, is it? Face to face. How long was that? I promise you I've done this with people when pressed for time. I've done it with people in a quarter of, and it really is perfect communication. It's not strawberry jam stuff, is it? It's not Mozart stuff. It's communication. And it's about the most valuable thing you can imagine. So if you lack friends on this wavelength, I mean, 10 seconds. Last time I was in the city, a friend known to us here, I said at the end of the meeting, well, if you've enjoyed this, would you do something for me? He said, oh yes, Douglas, we'll try. So I said, will you show 3 people this? Of course, this is a bit of a record, Guinness Book of Records here. Friend came back next morning and came to us, Douglas, the score is 9. Next morning, he'd shown 9 people. Now, you say, well, he couldn't have shown very deeply, you know, sort of spiritual. I mean, they're too quick. You can't do it wrong. You can't do it wrong. It's completely communicable. It's not a holy space that you share with people. And it doesn't get more brilliant according to the timing of the experience. It's just really so. So in order to get people to enjoy this with, just creatively. And then you've got the mutual encouragement, haven't you, David, and the infection which comes of sharing this with people. So it's a highly practical thing, I think, to share with people. And I think the world could perhaps do with this a little. That's a naughty way of talking, but I think if one going into the fruit business, one could say that, couldn't one? You? The world could do with a bit of this. And if you are the world, you know, compassion and so on does come in. It does come in. It's not a guru thing, you see.
It undercuts that.
Gurus do things better than you. But you're doing it right. See, they do ask for credentials. They say, well, this is all right, but what's the backing? What's at the back of this? You see, what are the credentials of Richard and David and Douglas, Norman, and what's at the back of this? You're the credential. You know, it's your own. It's over to you. I mean, you are the authority. And of course, some of us are very loath to trust our own authority. The last person we will trust is ourselves. That being so, and we all really suffer from this enfeeblement, I think. Well, for the sake of us who really need a little bit of a kind of testimonial going here to this method, let me just cite the story, true story, of the founder of Soto Zen. And the founder of Soto Zen was one Tung Shan, a Chinese lad of 9th century, I think. And Soto Zen is the biggest school of Zen in China. In Japan, I'm sorry. And currently it's the biggest. And this lad was studying with a Buddhist teacher, and he was reading the Heart Sutra of Mahayana Buddhism. And you know the Heart Sutra, many of you I expect. But it begins, "Hear, O Shariputra, form is void." Here, form is void. But the void also is form. See what I mean? Void, and where you are is void, and the void is form. And it went on, here are no eyes, no nose, no mouth, no ears, no functions of those organs, then a bit of kind of filling, Buddhist elaboration. And then He said, therefore the bodhisattva ceases to tremble. Ceases to tremble. No fear now for what can go wrong. And then it says, hooray, wow, wow, in Sanskrit. Wow in Sanskrit. Bodhi, svaha, etc., etc. Gate, gate, parasam gate, bodhi, svaha, which means hooray. Well, then, having read that, the boy said, well, so Tung-Shan read the scriptures and he said, I don't understand, Master. Who's my master and I'm Tung-Shan. So he said, well, you got those things, Master, and I've got them here. What does the Buddha mean? And the Buddha wouldn't tell us a lie. He says this extraordinary thing. So the master says, well, I don't understand either. You better go and study under a Zen master. So Tung-Shan, this lad, went off and studied under master after master and went disciplined. He went sitting, meditation, all sorts of proper things to do. And he'd quite grown up. And he never got this question answered, what the Buddha meant. Until one day he was walking in the country and there was a puddle or pond and he was crossing it over and he looked down and he saw his face in the water. Yeah. He was enlightened. And he became the founder of Soto Zen. Well, I mean, what he did, he just placed those darn things. That's where he kept them. Just like you kept your little guy out there. That's where you keep those things. So what we've done today is not so gimmicky as it might appear at first sight. At least it has credentials back of it, which we kind of respect. And another one, I mean, the virtual founder of Zen was before Tung-Shan. He was Huinong, and he was a boy too, which is very, very significant. See, he hadn't really grown up properly. It was a tremendous advantage. And he happened to see, I think, what we've all been seeing here today. And he went to a monastery down in the south of China, with great difficulty, and fetched up there, and was put to work in the kitchen pounding rice because the monastery was full of 500 holy monks that really knew about Buddhism. He was even a little boy, you see, and he was put to sleep, and he was put to pound rice. And however, the master, the abbot of that monastery, was about to throw in his towel. He wanted a successor, and he'd been looking for a successor. And he held a competition to see who was worthy of the job. And to cut the long story short, he gave the job to someone who got the right answer to this problem, who we really are. And Huinong came up with this, something like this, that one is like a mirror. You know cheval mirror? Do you use that expression, cheval mirror? No. A cheval mirror is a big oval one on a stand. And so one is like a mirror on a stand. And here's a standing mirror. This is a mirror stand. And there's a mirror here. And the mirror hasn't got any glass in it. It hasn't got any frame. And there's no mirror. No mirror at all. Well, the master said, "You're the new abbot. You're the new abbot." This boy in the kitchen pounding rice. These 500 holy monks, he couldn't see that. It was too sinful 500 holy monks. So he said, "You're the master, now run for it, because they'll be after you." See? So we had to run for it. And the monks ran, they were very angry. This boy, new abbot. So the master rowed him across the river, and he had to go away and run for it. But one of the monks caught him up and said, he's after killing him, really, to get the robe and the bow, but he said, "No, you don't want the robe and the bow, which are only symbols of the abbot's job. What you want, surely, is to see who you are. You want to really experience." So this chap who was called Ming, who was a general of the third rank, whatever that is, also a monk, he said, "Yes, master, please tell me what's the secret of enlightenment, you see." And Hunan said, "Well, now, just quieten down, go slow, and look and see what your face looks like at this moment. Face you had before your parents were born. Your true face." So he looked. He'd been looking for this for years, so he had a bit of a shock. He was a bit excited about that. And then, of course, he came to his senses. "Oh, master, no, come on, tell me the rest. I mean, really, couldn't be this. Tell me the rest. Tell me the real secret, master." Huinong said, "No, that's it." And after that, all the secrets are in you. There's nothing withheld. It's all there. That's why the principal koan of Zen is look and see your true face. Your face. Not your reality or your Buddha nature or your something abstract. Look and see your face. You had before your parents were born. And there's a Daito Kukushi, who is national teacher of Zen in the Japanese tradition, 13th, 14th century, that all the 1700 koans of Zen are only for making us see our true face, our original face. All of it. And how we get bogged down, all these complicated koans, terrific deal, big deal, and we get lost in this thing. Only somebody can do, few people can do this. We're all on the road and struggling away. All the 1700 koans are making us see our true face. Now, having said all this easy stuff, we need to go back again to what Norman and I here were talking about, how, it really takes everything we've got to live from this. It really does. And it's damned hard to live from it. But not living from it is much harder even than that. I would say in my own opinion. But those of us who are inclined to dismiss this afternoon and tomorrow as some kind of one more experience, which is really rather nice, but it's not that deep, and it's not very spiritual, all that stuff. I think we should perhaps treat it more seriously than that. I mean, do we really think the universe has served up the truth so it only can be perceived by eggheads and holy persons? Isn't there a presumption that the truth is sinful? Isn't it we who muck it up by demanding difficulties that aren't there, superimposing problems on what is so clear? And I really would go so far to suggest that if we really relaxed into what we have, give it to us on a plate, we would have everything we need, everything our hearts and minds could desire. I go as far as that. That's for testing, not for believing. Some people tell us that a tremendous lot of body stress builds up around the eyes. And this, I think that putting anything here is a tremendous energy loss to put anything here, and to put a pair of eyes and squint and peek through them, energy loss again. And when we give up that, there's this wide-eyed, relaxed view of the world, such as little children enjoy, such as we all enjoyed when we were little. By children, so wide-eyed look of children. Just getting back to that, I think. And my reading of the thing is that everything I do with the idea of a doer here called Douglas, an artist, a speaker, thinker, a writer, a cook, a house cleaner, a driver, and all my other hats that I have to wear. Everything I do with the idea that somebody here doing it, somebody here doing it, some guy here doing it, the little guy here doing it, is snared up by that, everything. And it's so debilitating because the energy used up keeping this guy in position. Because he has to keep changing. He has to be one thing for Gay, another thing for Norman, and wear different hats all the time, and just smile in the right places. It's a really debilitating process. And I get very tired. And it's a bad job. It's done badly. And it's got no novelty. It's got no flair. It's got no originality. It's deadish. Now, what is done from my space, or shall I say the words that come out of my silence, not out of the mouth, but come from the silence here, are words which are more apposite, more eloquent, I would say, more appropriate to the occasion. And with Douglas here thinking up this thing and mouthing those words, the words are fall flat. They really do. And that can happen, as you may have noticed. But on the contrary, if there's nobody here, I'm looking at Norman there, standing there near the window, and now I have some thoughts and things, lots of memories about Norman, and there's someone in the room you could look at. Do you remember now? Could you look at someone you remember and have knowledge of, their name. Now, where are your thoughts and feelings about that person? I mean, that person, say, is lovable. Now, is that person, have you taken the lovableness of the person? You say the tallness is where they are, or their fatness, or their fairness, sex, whether male or female, is presumably where they are. But now, what about their charm? What about their lovableness? Have we taken that bit and put in another thing here? In other words, are our feelings about the world, or are they about this something here? Talking philosophy, some great philosopher who you know all about said, when I smell a rose, not my nose. I taste a strawberry, not my taste buds. I don't taste my tongue, I taste strawberry. And perhaps that's the way it is. Now, to enlarge on that a little, we're getting very philosophical. We must not be too entrapped here. My reading and my own experience is that in this space is a passing scene. And this passing scene, before I start manipulating it too much, is full of thoughts and feelings and memories. And it's structured in 1,000 million ways, coloured with thought, coloured with feeling, like it's coloured with colour. I look at my friend David there, seen after some years. Full of memories of the times we spent together. That's what's going for me there, is something which is full of all sorts of context. And the world seems to me to be presented in my space like that. But here I find no box, no mind box. In fact, I don't find any mind here at all. I don't know what mind is. I mean, your philosophy will explain it, but I don't know what is meant by mind. I find the universe, which includes this, all this stuff. I find my mind is rich with the world, if you like, or rather that the world is rich with mind. But I don't find a universe there, and a mind here, in or out of a meatball, here, kind of centrally appreciating